lot of our prospective clients and current clients are wondering about the 0% interest business credit process. How does that work? How can they get funded? And your story. How you got started?
Yeah, absolutely. So with our process, it's really just a matter of do you fit the criteria, the mandate, and if you don't fit, how do we fix your profile so that it fits the mandate? So here's the high level view of everything. You need a 700 plus credit, you need under 5 inquiries, and you need under 30% utilization. Of course, there's more that goes into that, but that's the high level view. And if you qualify for that mandate, then essentially the next step is to apply through a bank. But you want to use a specific relationship because that relationship really pulls levers at the back end of the banks. Also, banking is still very old-fashioned and very much relationship-based. So having that relationship will really open the doors to the highest level of approvals. And that's pretty much a high level of the process. Now, me myself personally, I use 0% interest credit lines to finance multiple courses. I bought Chad Byers' course, which is Louis Garreau's capital raising program. And through his program, I learned how to raise hundreds of millions of dollars for business owners. And he really showed me a different path. But that course, for me, I was able to purchase that because of 0% Chase Inc. card. I remember it was $25,000. I bought it using Inc. card with a $30,000 credit limit, and that was last year. My 0% interest just expired recently, last week. So that's my experience using the exact product I'm preaching right now.
Amazing. And there are some clients who they're around 680 credit score. They're wondering, can they get financed? Or some people have 670, some people have 690. And maybe what are the steps to move forward and find out whether they can get financed and they get financed?
Yeah, 100%. So if you're at 680 and that's your FICO, chances are your approval rate is going to be very low. The best ideal profile is somebody who has a credit mix that's been available longer than 15 years. So that means you have a credit score with at least one credit card that extends beyond 15 years. And you need to have a score that's above 720. That's the ideal profile. You can still get approved with 700, 680, but the ones that I see that get approved for 150,000, 183,000, those clients have over 750 in your credit. So that's the ideal profile. And if you were at 680, the way you fix that, the way you rectify that is really simple. You remove your inquiries, but you have to keep in mind that if you applied with a bank before you remove the inquiry and they rejected you already, even if you remove that inquiry, they will know who you are, right? So what an inquiry is a hard pull that shows and reflects on your report that each bank, when they tap your profile, can see who you applied to. And if you apply and shop around to a lot of banks, they don't like that shit. So you cannot apply to multiple banks at once and expect them to be keen on that. And if you apply prematurely, your credit profile not optimized, they will have a record. And even if you come back later, you remove that inquiry, even if you come back later, they will know that, hey, Fortune has applied here. His credit report that I pulled early on this year had 16 inquiries. And now that I know that he had 16 inquiries 2 months ago, even though he removed my inquiry from Chase Bank, I know he's a high risk borrower. I don't want to lend to him. So that's the factor you gotta keep in mind. If you wanna do that, and you've already done that, you already applied to a bunch of banks, now they all know who you are, you have a waiting period of 3 to 4 years. That window, once that's through, then you can apply again. The next part of this is utilization. I think this is the factor that affects your score the most. If you pay down utilization to under 30%, then your score will go up. And of course, don't make any missing payments. If you have any missing payments, you'll never qualify. You gotta remove those. But that's the viewpoint of how you can improve your credit. If it's under 680, what is that 680?
Love that. And how important is business revenue in this process? Can people with zero business revenue get funded, or if you have 10,000 a month versus 100,000 a month, how important is that factor?
That's a great question. So if you have no revenue, that's not a factor at all. So with business credit cards, a lot of times they'll ask you for your revenue, but they can't check that. No, not really. And what they'll do is they'll see the age of your LLC. So if your LLC is old, then it doesn't matter what your revenue is. You can put a number in as long as it's realistic in your estimated income inside your profile, and it matches in a line. And the way you really estimate that is, let's say you're making $100,000 a year. You can directly say my 3-year-old business is making $1 million, and they can't measure your revenue. I'm not saying to create fraud, but your revenue really does not have a major impact on this. What's going to have a major impact is your personal income and credit profile, and to get extremely granular, you're talking about the credit mix. You're talking about, hey, when was the last loan you took out? How long ago was that? Let's say you have a loan for $1 million, you've been paying the note for 18 years. They're going to be keen on that. They're going to like that. The banks are going to like that. And that's really going to be the biggest needle mover alongside your HLC. Your credit mix, which consists of your credit card payment history, how old they are, and the recent loans you took out, whether it's a personal loan, a car loan, something of that, or even a mortgage, that has a bigger pull and weight on the final approval.
Wow.
So,
love that. And when we first introduced this idea of 0% interest business credit cards to prospective clients, a lot of times they say, what's the catch? So what is the catch?
it's very simple. The 7 to 12% is just an introductory offer. That offer is meant to pull in the clients, to attract the client, and then afterwards, hereafter, you're looking at a 12 to 30, 23% APR. Right? So that's just an intro offer. It's 7 to 12 months, 0% interest. And then as the agent, as the banker on the deal, we charge a 10% success fee. And that's really the catch. We really facilitate that and charge a premium on top.
Awesome. And how long does this whole process take from when they first get in contact with us to our clients receiving the credit cards in the mail and holding it in their hand and being able to use it to achieve their goals, buy that materials or those supplies they need?
Yeah, that's a great question too. So every bank is different, but I always say 30 days or less. When your profile is perfect, you can expect to get approval between the banks in 30 days or less. Some banks will take longer, but 30 days is the time frame you can expect for all your cards to come in. If your credit profile is not optimized yet, you shouldn't apply yet. But if it is completely optimized, you can go in and get approved in 30 days or less.
Amazing. And a lot of our prospective clients are wondering, what's our experience with getting clients funded? How many clients have we gotten funded over what kind of period of time?
So at this point, I think we have close to 100, or we're just slightly over 100 clients that we funded. And with 0% credit cards, we probably funded around 80 or 90 different clients. And the amount in aggregate between all the financing sources, of course, some clients, though they don't just take 0% credit line, they also take a mortgage, they also take a cash advance, the SBA. In combination, we're probably slightly north of 11 million right now. So I say tens of millions, but just slightly over 10 million. At this point, as of January the 3rd, 2025, we have funded the ballpark of $11 million for our clientele through debt. And that's debt, strictly speaking, not equity.
Amazing. And our clients are wondering, how else can they get funded? Like, let's say they get credit cards from us. Are there other ways they can get debt financing for their business, like business loans or other things that we offer?
Yeah. So outside of the credit cards, everything else is for post-revenue businesses. So you have to have genuine revenue over a period of 6 months or more. or a real asset. You need to have genuine revenue over 6 months or more, or a hard asset. The hard asset is the equivalent of an equipment, like a truck, a giant truck worth 50,000 up, or real estate. Those two asset class for your business revenue can be utilized for us to underwrite and lend on.
Amazing. And a lot of times I hear clients ask, why should we go with you instead of going to the bank directly? What's the benefit there?
Well, I think that the benefit really lies on the profile optimization and our ability, right, to manage different processes at once. Because again, you need to optimize your profile. You need the relationships at the right place. Because if you go to your normal branch, you apply for a card, they'll tell you to just go online. Or if they're kind enough to take you in and underwrite, they might not have the same pull that our bankers have, because we work with presidents at each firm, at each bank, and these presidents have the highest weight when managing your approval, when communicating with the underwriter who's really underwriting your approval. And our relationships, they don't span state by state at each branch. Our relationship is national. Their ability spans a lot of different branches.
And
actually, one last part to add to that. I think with us, when you apply with us and get approved with us, you don't just get the credit cards. You also get our network. So we funded hundreds of clients at this point, and each prospective client at the top end are doing 7-8 figures, and there's an industry overlap. I think that network that you get from us is probably the most powerful piece, and that by itself is probably worth the cost we charge, which is 10% with $10,000 for credit cards.
And a lot of our clients are often asking us, before they've started the whole process with us, they're wondering, which banks can we get the credit cards with? What would you say to that?
I would say all the national names, the household names, JP Morgan, Bank of America. And I will also say that if your credit profile is great, go ahead and apply here. But I would say be careful about your approach while applying right away. Because again, like I said in the previous video, if you mess up the approval, you get rejected, the bank will have that on record. Even if you remove the incriminator to reapprove, to reapply after you optimize the profile, they will have that on record. So you need to know the relationships that can help you instantly run around that rejection, or you need to know the exact profile you need before applying. You need to be extremely ridiculous when you're applying to get the max amount. That's really the value add for us. We know exactly what you need to do to get the maximum amount in the shortest period possible. That's what I would say.
And our clients often wonder, what are the payments required to have this credit card, use it, borrow money from it, and keep it in good standing?
Yeah, it's a great question. Me personally, I run the minimum payments. I use the same program that I sell, and I really stand behind the products that I sell. So 1% of the borrowed amount per month is what I pay to Chase. And that repeats on a monthly basis. At maturity, I'll get the full thing. And I've done that for a few bucks.
Amazing. And so how does this, how do they start working with us? Like, do they need to pay us up front? Is there a back end fee? Let's say they get funded with a certain amount, they need to pay us more, things like that.
Well, if you want to work with us, apply to our website and book a meeting with one of our bankers. That's pretty much it. The fees are very simple. We take 1%, not 1%, we take $1,000 up front, and sometimes we'll waive it if your credit profile is very perfect. But generally speaking, we take $1 to see a real commitment from you. Because a lot of the times we be approved for 100,000, and you really just walk away and waste our time. We're not here to waste your time. We really do want to see commitment from our clients. The other part is the back end success fee of 10% or 10,000, whatever is greater. That's what we charge.
Love that. And people often ask us as well when they first meet us. I've heard about the 0% interest offer. I've heard from other people. What's different about going with you guys compared to other people that are offering that 0% program?
So the biggest separator is our network and our knowledge. So number one, with us, when you apply and go through with us, we grant you access to the 7-figure business owner in your industry in the same space that we finance. Now you have a network that you can exchange ideas off of. The second part is our access to the global markets for different instruments. It's not just 0% credit cards with us. We're really highly connected in every single space. Your mortgages, your asset-backed lending, your lines of credit, your cash advance, and all the different debt instruments, we have our nose in. We know all the products. We know what we're talking about. We just know everything in the debt space. The last part I'd like to add is to add on to our knowledge of the landscape. We know how to optimize your profile. So that video I explain the details on that. But you don't want to apply before you're ready. You want to apply when you're fully optimized. If you're really trying to get the maximum amount in the shortest time period, then it just makes complete sense to go with an expert who has done it tens and dozens and nearly hundreds of times.
Amazing.